am so excited that you guys are here and we are together and we're going to get to talk about what you guys do.
Oh my gosh, same. I'm so excited. This is like a power trio right now, and I'm really pumped about it.
I'm really pumped for it too. Also loving your yellow, Mel.
Thanks.
Yes,
Thanks so much.
you look like a bright summer burst. It's so cute.
Oh, thank you.
Well, let's kick it off. I want to hear, can you guys tell me a little bit about both of y'all and then what the natural blueprint is?
Yeah, Mel, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, sure. So I am Mel. I am one half of the Natural Blueprint team. I am obsessed with women's health, and I'm so excited for people to learn more about the power of their body. Also, can you guys hear me okay? I have the
Yeah.
phone. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I started charting my cycle in 2018 because I wanted to learn more. I was getting married the next year, so I wanted to learn how to chart before we got married. And it has been genuinely the most significant and important decision I've ever made in my life. We feel like we have such a strong desire to share information with ladies, because you don't have to accept something just because it's status quo and what all your friends are doing. You have to figure out what works best for you. And we really feel like it's just the most badass powerful thing. And so Michelle and I started talking and created a class. And it's just been so amazing. We've had over 50 women take it now. We just feel so passionate about it. So I'll share some more too.
That is amazing. I can't believe it's been over 50 people. Y'all are crazy.
Yeah, I feel like that was a really big, exciting moment when we went over that threshold in our last class. So super exciting. But I'm Michelle. I'm the other founder of the Natural Blueprint, and Mel did a good job there. But just adding to that, I started charting my cycle in 2019 and was really just looking for some alternative options and kind of wanted to like challenge the status quo of kind of the birth control world and what most people recommend, which at the time was really just like hormonal birth control, and I just didn't feel right with it. So wanted to try to find something different that was in tune with a hormonal synchronization every month and really embraces like how our body's supposed to function. So Mel and I both learned together, and then we were like, why did no one teach us this in high school or college? It's just like foundational knowledge. So that's what really inspired us to create the Natural Blueprint virtual course. So yeah, that's basically it.
Amazing. Do you guys think I should introduce myself? Should I do that?
Yeah.
Yourself.
I was like, I don't know. So I'm Sarah. I'm a doctor of physical therapy. I help women runners with hip pain return to running pain-free. And the Natural Blueprint and FAM and all of that fits into my life because y'all taught me how to track my cycle before I got married in 2021. And I feel like it has been similarly to Mel, like probably the most significant thing in my like health and fitness journey. I'm able to train for races or weight training and know that I'm not like killing myself and I'm not like, I guess, killing my chance at ovulation by just tracking my markers and knowing that I'm ovulating and doing what I need to do every month.
That's awesome.
And it was so fun having you class.
I know, it was really a blast.
The best advocate for the next friend, and we love what support. So,
oh my gosh, I know. I tell everyone, I'm like, you guys need. I'm like, you need to take this class. Like, you just have to do it. Can you guys both tag team and tell me what FAM or the fertility awareness method is? And yeah, just give us the rundown.
Sure. I can start.
Go ahead, Mel.
Okay. So FAM stands for Fertility Awareness Method. So it's like umbrella basically of using a natural method to pregnancy. So there's a lot of different methods that follow to FAM, but in our course, we take the thermal method. So the symptothermal method, a basal body thermometer, and fluid to track your cycle. So those are the two kind of indicators there. And when you
Mel,
track, yeah.
I'm getting like every other word. Are you hearing
Oh,
that
you're
too,
like a
Sarah?
little happy.
So glad you guys said that. Is it better now?
Yeah.
Yes, much better, I think.
Oh,
Okay.
good.
Go back to like the markers that you use.
Okay. So with the fertility awareness method, since it's this like umbrella method, are you guys hearing me okay now?
Great.
Yes.
Okay. I was being lazy and I had my phone on my laptop, so this is better. So with that, we have women track using the symptothermal method. And I know this is a lot of big words and it can seem really confusing. It's really not. But basically, it's using your basal body thermometer and then using your cervical fluid to track. So you're tracking your basal body temps and your cervical fluid every day to kind of help you identify if you're in your fertile window or not, and then key insights into your hormones as well. Niche.
Yeah, I'll just add on. So the reason we look at those two indicators are because cervical fluid, which I feel like in most times we've heard of as like discharge, but really when it's the natural form of cervical fluid, it's super healthy. But basically after your period, you'll notice a buildup of fluid excretion from your down there. Anyways, you'll notice more fluid and it builds and becomes more fertile in quality. So you can start to track and identify when you become fertile before you ovulate. And then we track temperatures orally every day because after you ovulate, the hormone progesterone causes your temperature to rise, which then you can see by tracking your basal body temperature every day, and 3 days after ovulation you're technically out of that fertile window. So you track those two to first identify the first start of your fertile window, and then the back end you're trying to get out of that fertile window. So yeah, does that make sense?
That makes great sense. As I'm listening to us, I'm like, wow, that's a lot. But I do it and it doesn't feel like that much. So I'm going to put you guys on the spot. Can you tell me what this practically looks like in your day-to-day? Like how much time you mentally have to think about it, and I guess really how easy it can become?
Yeah. I mean, really, like, I don't think about it more than 2 seconds a day when I sync my device to my phone, and then maybe once or twice when I go to the bathroom, I'm just like noticing what's going on. But yeah, it's literally second nature. So it's a learning curve up front, but you get the hang of it so fast.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like it's, I think at first it seems more intimidating because all we've ever been told is to like pop a pill every day or, have something that's like set it and forget it. Whereas this is like learning your body and learning things you've never learned before. But if you give yourself like 3 months of like, I am going to really learn the rules and really practice them and, just give yourself a few months time, it will become so easy. You won't even think about it. It'll be like shocking how little you think about it. And then you will use it your entire menstruating life until you're like 50 and in menopause. Like it's like something that you're going to use a tool that you're going to use for years and years and years. And it's crazy how quickly and easily it just becomes like the back of your mind. You don't even have to think about it because it's second nature and it's your body. So you just know your body so well.
So true. Yeah. When I first started, I did. I cried. I was like, this is too much. I don't want to have to learn
Yeah.
this. And then like truly in 3 months time, I was like, that's it. That's all I have to do. It just becomes second nature.
Part of it too is like we really feel like it's best to learn in community. Like if I didn't have Mish when I was learning this, I would have died. Like it can feel overwhelming at first just because like Mish said, no one told us this kind of information. But then you learn it and you get to be in community with other women if you take our course. And then you'll just feel so empowered and badass and amazing. And you'll just be like, oh, how did I not know this before? This is so easy.
I love it. Well, most of the gals that I work with, I would say like my primary clients are maybe 20, but probably more like 30 to like 45. And they're like maybe thinking about having kids or have had a kid and are going to have another kid. They're going through all of those transitions. Where do you feel like FAM would fit into their life and how would it be helpful?
Misha, you go.
Okay. Well, I forgot to mention I'm also a dietitian, so I love FAM because it fits nicely in with nutrition, especially for those women kind of in the prenatal or postpartum stage and even during pregnancy to kind of hone into all the things hormonal as well as like your nutrient needs. But from a FAM specific application to those clients, understanding where you're at your cycle can help you either prevent or achieve pregnancy. And it also just gives you an underlying information on if anything else is going on. So you might be able to find out you have irregular cycles, or maybe your cycles are too short to sustain a pregnancy, or maybe you're having recurrent miscarriages that you're seeing in your chart, but maybe you would have never saw had you just gotten pregnant. You maybe wouldn't have even known you got pregnant. So I guess there's a lot of information you can know just by charting your temperature and cervical fluids. So does that answer the question?
Totally. Yeah.
And
Go for it.
oh, I was just going to say, Mel, do you want to add anything there too?
No, I mean, I think you hit all of it. The other thing I was going to mention is like some of the insights that you can get from charting too, in addition to it being your own like hormones and your own hormone levels, and kind of starting to see if are you in this optimal health for pregnancy and things like that. But also you can understand what's part of your cycle that you're in. So there's 4 parts of your cycle. So the menstrual, follicular, ovulatory, and then luteal, and each of those different parts are associated with different moods and different energy levels. And so speaking of your clientele, Sarah, and a lot of them being runners, you know, it's probably not best to do your longest run on your period or on your luteal phase, which is that back half of your cycle. And sometimes, at least for me, before I understood this and kind of the waning energy levels and how they ebb and flow, I used to get so upset with myself and be like, oh my gosh, why was this workout so hard for me? I'm in better shape than this. Like, why was this so difficult? But in reality, we're operating on like on a 30-day cycle kind of thing. So it takes our body a few days and a few weeks to get into certain parts of our cycle and to feel like we're in our best fit self. So your follicular and ovulatory phase are when you want to do those longer runs, and then kind of give yourself a break and do some of the shorter runs in your luteal and around your period as well.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, you're in like your more, I guess, fatiguing phases for, isn't it like half your cycle? Is that true?
Yeah.
Almost, yeah.
Almost, yeah.
Definitely that second half of the luteal phase and then those days of the period, you would feel lower energy. So
yeah.
So with myself, I don't have any runners that I track their cycle with them, but for myself, if I have half marathon or I'm training for something and I like can't miss my long run for half of the month, then I always go maybe instead of like heart rate based or like trying to hit a certain pace, maybe I will go heart rate based instead of pace based, or I'll go like effort. So see how I feel based off, instead of like trying to go, I don't know, for a certain mile time.
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. And we made like a funny Instagram reel on our account, just showing like there's even different workout, if specific to running obviously, but then there's also different workouts that you can do based on where you're at in your cycle, if you want to do more HIIT workouts or more yoga. And this isn't to say that you have to cycle sync necessarily and like, always move less on your luteal, but just it helps with, I think, managing expectations and giving your body a little bit of a break, especially around your period, when you just really, your body's already doing a lot and you just kind of need to lay low.
Yeah, I think that expectation piece is huge, where most runners specifically are like, I need to be hitting this pace, I need to be doing this, and to not have that placed on them, or at least know why they're not hitting it as easily, is huge.
Yeah.
I feel like for just not natural, but methods that we've been taught, like birth control, IUD, stuff like that, there are cons. Are there any cons to doing the natural blueprint that you guys have, or FAM, that you guys have found as you've been teaching and doing it yourselves?
You want to kick us off, Mel?
Sure. I would say no, because of just like how insane the benefits are. I wouldn't even say this is a con, but if I'm being super realistic, like it just takes time. You can't start it the next day like you could just open a pill pack. You know, it is things that you need to learn about your body, and it can take time. So I would say the biggest con is just like it's gonna give you to give it a few months. And even with the birth control pill, they say give it 3 months before you rely on it. So similar in that sense, that it is just going to take some time before you can rely on it as a method. But that's really the biggest thing. It's just being disciplined, being strict, and following the time. But then the pros are just so amazing. You could not waste that one.
It's
But
true.
would you say anything else?
I would just add, I mean, if you look it up online, I think people will say that it's not great because it doesn't protect from like STIs and things like that, given that there's no barrier there. But other cons, just off the top of my head, sometimes like the male partner, or not necessarily male partner, but your partner might not be fully aware of all the science that we teach you in the class. So sometimes explaining it to them can take a little bit of time so that they're comfortable too. But hopefully down the road, we'll have a little couples module so that you and your partner could potentially take it together so they can be fully understanding from, two teachers versus just like you trying to explain it to them, because it can definitely be intimidating, and you just want to make sure everyone's on the same page.
Yeah. Sarah,
Yeah.
would you say for you practicing it, like have you had it come across any?
I think the only thing, which really this is a con if you're doing birth control, IUD, or FAM, is that a lot of it falls on the gal, where you're the one that has to learn, or you're the one that has to put, the thing in your body or take the pill or whatever. But in a perfect world, this con's really a pro, because now you can disperse the load and have like both of you and your partner learn about it, and that will help with dispelling any like qualms on science. And I feel like, yeah, just make it a little bit more evenly carried.
Totally. And that's something that we talk about in one of our modules is like, we really believe this is a shared responsibility. And women have carried the load for so long. And the FAM method does allow for men to be able to take an active role in your fertility. And that can look a number of ways. It can look truly as simple as like just being informed on like where you are at in your cycle and what that even means, as opposed to like the man who's like totally clueless and doesn't know how to shop for like a tampon. So it could be like just having a little more knowledge, or it could look like, hey, I just took my temperature. Can you put it in the app for me and chart for me? And if you had told me that years ago that a man would understand like a fertility chart, it would have been like, what the heck? That's crazy. But it's possible, and it really increases conversation and communication in couples in a way that, from what we've heard, is not the case in other methods. So from a lot of our students, we've seen a lot more increased communication with their partners, just being able to share what they're going through and why they might be feeling in a certain mood or fatigue level, or why they might be experiencing more cervical fluid, or why their hormones, they might be concerned about their hormones. All of these things that just come up naturally when you're charting.
For sure. I think the proudest moment of my FAM journey is I was with a ton of my girlfriends, and everyone is married or engaged at this point, so our significant others are there. We were like in these hot tubs, and all the girls were in one and all of the guys were in the other.
Yeah.
And my husband and one other guy that knows about this they were teaching the other guys about like FAM. They're like, as she takes her temperature and then this happens, and we just looked over and we were dying laughing, and I was like, this is amazing.
Amazing.
My fiance did the same thing on a guy's trip. He was like educating his friends, and I was like, "You go! Like that's awesome.
Oh,
We need more guys like that."
Yes, we do.
awesome.
What would you guys say to maybe a gal that's like, I really want to get started. This seems overwhelming. Where do I start?
I can start. I would say, the first thing you could do is look into joining our class, just because, as Mel mentioned, we really think learning this method in community and having all your resources in one go is really, really helpful. When we were learning, there's some books out there, there's other articles and stuff, but we are trying to make an all-encompassing place for women to come, and then hopefully women's partners as well. But really just looking into finding the right learning method for a participant. But would definitely recommend just starting sooner than later. I feel like, with our hormonal health and just wanting to kind of understand what's going on, like now is the time, especially with any type of fertility goals and such in the future. I think it's just really helpful to go forward with it if you have it in your gut that you feel like something with what the method you're using now is kind of out of alignment. So yeah. Mel, any other
that's so
thoughts?
good. I would say I would totally agree with that and say, it is just really nice to be with community, especially when it just feels like everyone else is doing something else. It's nice to know somebody or know some gals who are doing things differently. I think the other thing is just know that there might be bumps along the road, or that you might get pushback from your provider, or you might, it's a lot more common and popular now, and people are really starting to understand the science, thank God. And we want you to feel empowered to advocate for yourself. And so if you have been feeling like, I have been having migraines for years and I've been on the pill or something like that, where you're like, I just feel like this must be associated, and your provider or someone is telling you that can't be the case, keep asking questions and look into it yourself and advocate for yourself, because you know yourself best. And that's part of why we love what we do, is because we want women to feel like they can go and talk to a provider and ask the questions and work alongside them, as opposed to being just told what to do, and that they can really advocate for themselves and feel empowered in each of their appointments. So that was a long-winded answer to say, look up T&B. Also, look into a provider that you feel really comfortable with, who's willing to be open and listen to you. And yeah, and also just feel proud of yourself for like taking care of yourself, because it's a big jump. It's not easy, but it's so worth it.
I just wanted to add to the nice thing with kind of fertility awareness method nowadays is there's a lot of wearable tech and devices that make it way easier. So the traditional FAM method, you would take your temperature with like a regular basal body thermometer and have to look at the number and record it on a piece of paper. And it just becomes more labor intensive, where now you can wear an armband or a ring and it tracks all that for you. So I think leaning into some of those tools to make it a little less kind of a burden on you at first.
Yeah. And one of the devices that Michelle was mentioning is called Temp Drop. So that's another thing. If you're looking into getting started, is looking into a device and kind of understanding what you want. There's a lot of options. You can have that oral thermometer that's like $10 at Walgreens, or you can get something that you would wear overnight and you don't have to wake up to take your temp, like Temp Drop. So there's a lot of different options out there, but we're all about the latest tech to make sure that this is as easy for you as possible. And honestly, the good news is it's not going anywhere. It's just going to get more and more popular. So you should just ride the cool wave now, because
jump on.
Be a trendsetter.
Yeah, be a trendsetter. With TNB, just join us all.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you guys want to share or feel like you missed or you love about FAM that you want to, I don't know, promote?
Mel, do you want to share your special news?
Wait, what's my special? Oh, that's
Well, just how you like
Yeah.
transition from using like,
Yes.
I feel like that's really
What's going
appropriate.
on?
Yes. I was like, wait, are we talking about the same social medias? Yes, we are. It's so for me, I was able to use SAM for many years to avoid getting pregnant and to also, like I said, have increased communication and intimacy and all the things with my husband. And then we switched into trying for pregnancy. So you use the rules and you avoid in your fertile window or work to achieve in your fertile window based on what your goals are. And so now I'm pregnant with our first, which is really exciting. So it's, I guess I can advocate that it works and I've read that, and it's just feels so good to just understand like what are your goals and to be in agreement of your goals with your partner. And so that's yeah. And also just like be proud of yourself. It's like it's just a really cool thing to do. I've said that like 10 times, but it really is. So
I think so too.
Sarah, do you have anything to add?
Yeah.
Am I pregnant? I'm not pregnant.
Yeah.
I'm not pregnant.
Oh,
No.
This is not my announcement. I don't know. I need to think on it. Michelle, were you going to say anything?
No, I think we covered most of it, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like my biggest takeaway was, or just from doing FAM, is that I never had to like experience any of the side effects from birth control or IUD or any of the things, and I'm just so thankful, like watching and hearing women's stories that they had to go through that. It's like it's just so sad and kind of like hindsight's 2020, and I know that they wish that they would have learned this sooner. So yeah, the faster you learn and I guess start with the process,
Yeah.
I feel like just the better it is.
And actually, one more thing I'll add too is like for those of you who are Sarah's clients or interested in becoming a client of Sarah, somebody who is looking at your menstrual cycle is like gold. Like that is like an ideal provider because what is it? It's oh, I'm gonna botch this, but like what is like when you go to the doctor and it's your vital signs like oxygen and
your vital
heart rate.
Great
Yes.
job, Mel.
Thank you. My brain is not fully here, but so they say like, oh, your menstrual cycle is like your fourth vital sign. Like that is like I mean, I think it should be in the sense of like it is so critical to your health. Tells you so much about your hormones in your body. And if you want to be in optimal running shape, your menstrual cycle is critical for that and to understand where your hormone levels are at. So checking out somebody like Sarah who's interested in that stuff with you and isn't just going to like negate that and dismiss you is huge. And then also checking out someone like Michelle who, if you see tagged on this account, is also her Eat Well account because she's a registered dietitian. So working with someone like her to kind of understand like what foods should I be eating, what supplements should I be taking, that is like you would just be feeling so good about yourself. That's my thing.
It is true. Awesome. Thanks for that plug, Mel. Yeah, I love, or I feel like, yeah, if the provider's going to take time to look at your chart and not just like, look at a quick number and they're going to like break it down with you, that provider's going to be amazing. And they're probably going to have a great network of people to refer you to if things arise.
Yeah. Kind of bringing it back to your runner population, I just had one thought. Especially in like younger female athletes and just looking at menstruation as a sign of like nourishment and being fully fueled for your runs to prevent, bone density loss and injury. So if you're menstruating and you're tracking your cycle, naturally you'll be able to know that you're in a good shape because that's one of the first things to go. But some of the birth control options out there can hinder our natural cycle as well. So you might not know if you're actually cycling regularly or not. So I think that's just one more plug for runners. That it can be really helpful.
Yeah, for sure. The biggest thing that I see with runners in regards to like in relation to cycle tracking would be bone stress injuries. So yeah, if you're not menstruating, you're probably or you are like not having a good enough supply of bone density and like that regeneration of your bone. And oftentimes I'll see stress fractures in hips or bone stress injuries in different areas. And if a runner came to me with their cycle, I could say, wow, okay, we're not menstruating or we're not ovulating, going through a long enough cycle. Here are some resources for you to improve that. And then we could work on like the orthopedic side of it as well.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I'm seeing some awesome comments as well in the chat. And I'm like so bad at multitasking, but I love that people are joining and that are interested in taking the course. Mini plug for ourselves. And then Sarah, you should do also plug for you.
Plug it. Tell me where can I get more from you guys? Like if I want to sign up, how do I do that? How do I get in contact? What do I do?
Yeah. So we have our website is thenaturalblueprint.org, and also you can check us out on Instagram at The Natural Blueprint. And you can email us too. Just go on our website and all that information is on there. Right now we have a waiting list for our next live course that will be likely in the winter, but we are also in the works on building out a virtual pre-recorded course. So we will keep you up to date on when that launches. If you want, just sign up for our waiting list so that you can get in the know. One other thing that I forgot to mention is Taking Charge of Your Fertility is a really great book. If you are considering and you want to just read something today, you can get it on Amazon. Toni Weschler is the author. She's incredible. And that book is a wealth of knowledge in terms of how to chart your cycle with the symptothermal method as well.
Yes, Toni is the OG fam gal, so she paved the way, which is awesome.
That she did. Here in Seattle, Washington. That's what she did. All right. Well, thanks so much for coming on, gals. I am always excited to learn from you and so thankful for what you've done in my fertility life.
We're so grateful for you, Sarah. Seriously.
Yes, thank you. You've sent so many friends our way, and they're all amazing people. So we've loved having them in our class as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've gotten some of them pregnant too, or you've taught them how to get pregnant.
Yeah, intentionally.
We love it.
So.
Yeah. We love TNB babies.
Yes. We'll name them all TNB. All right, ladies, I will chat with you soon.
Thanks.
All right,
Bye,
thank
everyone.
you, Sarah.
Bye.
Bye.